EA is rumored to have canceled Dead Space 4. EA says no. There was a rumor that EA had canceled Dead Space 4 because Dead Space 3 sold so poorly. And then EA later today came out and said, no, Dead Space 3 didn't sell that poorly, and no, we haven't canceled Dead Space 4. That's not even a thing at this point. So, and the internet's all ablaze about it.
So were people mad that they were going to cancel it? Because I feel like a lot of people didn't even want Dead Space 3 leading up to the release of Dead Space 3. So are they suddenly enraged, or what was the deal? Do you know?
I'm not sure. From what I saw, it was kind of evenly split. Like some people were like, "Yay!" Other people's were like, "Oh no, they don't have their inevitable like return to redemption or whatever they were hoping for." I don't know. I think the internet just likes to get mad.
Well,
I
that is true.
I haven't even played Dead Space 3 at all yet. And I mean, I like the series, but when I played Dead Space 2, I finished the game and then I fell asleep. And in the morning, I got up and played the ending again, having completely forgotten that I finished it the night before. That's how little impact Dead Space 2's plot made on me. So I haven't been that motivated to get Dead Space 3, and then I understand it's a lot longer, which is a problem for me. I like my action horror games to be something that I'm going to finish in a night or two. I don't want to have to devote my life to it. So I haven't made the leap, and so I can't even say that I care whether or not there's a Dead Space 4 at this point.
Yeah, I mean,
Uh,
you'll have to forgive me as someone who hasn't played like all of the Dead Spaces. I played one, but is three like a thing that needed to exist? Because I mean, leading up to it, like it seems like it was way different. And as I understand, there was some like dramatic team changes part of the way through development. So like, does four even need to exist at this point? Like, is it a bad thing that it may or may not have gotten canceled?
I didn't even think. That's what I was just about to say when Conrad was done. Is I was ready to be done with the series, even though I loved it with two. I was ready for it to be done. And you're right. It was a departure with three. I mean, the co-op, the item crafting. It's like It's almost like, well, we have to think of something to add to this game. So then they just started throwing stuff in. And I was satisfied with one and two. I would have been ready for them to take a break, which is what this rumor sounded like. Not like they were going to never do it again, just put it on a break. So,
It'd be nice to have, a few years between games in AAA franchises. It seems so expensive to try and make one of those games, and then you cut corners by trying to get it out quickly, and then you wind up with a subpar game. Give them the time. Why not? That's fine.
Those are like
Hiatus, not
two
hiatus. Call it
years.
what you want. Call it a development cycle. Can we have those?
Those are banned now.
SimCity is out, and
Does it count as being out if no one can play it?
that is a question for the ages. Our review might be up by the time this episode goes out. So here's what I want to say. People, you need to not complain, or else you need to learn that games that have heavy online components are probably not going to be great on the first week of launch.
it comes up every single time. Nobody should be shocked or amazed or really even upset about it at this point because it takes tweak time. Maybe everyone should just hold reviews off for a week. Maybe that's the deal. But then with the industry's focus on a game needing to have its first week sales be huge in order to be considered a success, I don't know that it would work. I don't know how you strike the balance there.
I don't know why they still matter. First week sales matter that much. I mean, a lot of games going more digital, stock isn't going to. There's no problem with stock. You have infinite stock, basically.
Part of me, I know better, but part of me wants to just say, just throw some more money at it for some like setup temporary servers for the first week. But I know that's not really how it works. I'm kind of amazed. Like a company as huge as like EA or going back to Diablo, like Activision Blizzard, like they have a lot of money. They can just throw at things like this, and I don't understand why they didn't.
But who's to say they didn't? That's the thing. I mean, here we have these companies that are so massive that we expect that they're capable of pretty much anything they set their minds to. And it's not as though they want the first week of release to be plagued by these problems. They're obviously working to fix them. So I think it really speaks to how huge the challenge is in making sure that all of these things work the way that they're supposed to. And there's only so much testing and preparedness you can do. You can't just expect that the situation is going to be the same for their testing purposes as the live environment. There's gonna be a factor that switches it up.
So, well, is the game good? I've seen reviews that say so. I don't know if I want to spend $60 on a SimCity ever, though, which is kind of, I'm sure I'll get hate for that, but there's certain types of games I don't want to spend full price on, just knowing my tastes.
I've played it a few hours, and I'm not that into it. I really like SimCity 2000. I think that's my favorite SimCity. This one is interesting. It's beautiful. There's some concepts that they're introducing that are neat, but the city size is really small, and it's playing more off of connecting cities regionally, and there's a lot of distraction. It's like I don't have enough to do. I'm paying attention to power and water and sewage and keeping these assholes entertained and providing shopping and jobs and all of that, and then like every 30 seconds there's this person's visiting your town. This town's doing this thing. This town's offering these services. It's just, leave me alone.
I didn't like when Farmville did that, so I don't know why SimCity decided to do it too.
Thief.
It's a game.
It is a game. I like that series. I think it does stealth really well, generally speaking, and it's been a while. There's a game that has clearly not felt the need to be released every year. I like it. It's fun. I'm interested in what they're talking about. It sounds like a reboot. Game Informer has a feature on it this month. Alistair Pinsoff had a chance to look at it, and they're adding a focus ability that lets you perceive environmental features and avoid combat. Kind of like what's in Hitman. The new Hitman added that instinct ability. It's going to be something similar.
It really just sounds like they're taking the same approach that they did with Absolution, in that it's more modern, basically, with the design. Maybe I'll be able to get into it, because I never played the Thief games at all.
Well, I think it's probably a good time for Thief to come back, because Dishonored had some pretty striking similarities in terms of its design, and that sort of steampunk vibe, and that was quite successful. Maybe they're looking at that and thinking, hey, maybe we can bring this back and people will be into it again.
And actually, a lot of the team that worked on the original Thief games moved over to the Dishonored development team. So I think that might be why it's so similar.
Yeah, yes, that's very apparent.
Yeah,
I mean,
I like the idea of this new wave of stealth games that are about making them accessible, because I've played a lot of stealth games, and they are really, really hard to get into for the first time. I started playing Metal Gear Solid, and it just kind of drops you just straight up into sneaking, which is not a thing in any other game type ever. So you just kind of have to mull your way through it. So I like that, with Hitman, you can just kind of put it on don't screw it up too hard mode, and so that seems to be kind of what Thief is doing, which is not bad, I guess. I'm sure you can turn it off.
I didn't realize that I don't know. Are there mystical elements in Thief?
Yeah, some. Yeah.
Really? That seems so weird to me.
Yeah.
I guess I just know nothing about Thief.
Apparently, they're doing away with all of that fantasy stuff for the reboot.
Huh.
So it's just going to be some straight up Gaslight stuff.
Yeah. I hope it's not kind of indicative of them trying to go for a more mass market, dumbed down appeal. Hopefully. Maybe.
I can't remember the last time removing a fantasy element from something dumbed it down.
Yeah. Well, I mean, I suppose the common folk do love their fantasy games.
Well, there's nothing wrong with that. I'm not particularly a fan, but but one of my favorite games ever is one that has that same sort of juxtaposition between magic elements and technological ones, which is Shadowrun, and it's completely it's the other direction. It's loud and it's brash and it's all about high technology and future, but it's the same sort of pairing, and it works really well in there. And I thought it worked well in Thief. I'm not going to miss it necessarily if they manage to just go straight up steampunk and it works. But it certainly wasn't handled in a way that I thought was poor prior to this.
Yeah, I mean, I guess my problem is I'm not super into steampunk, so I like less steampunk as opposed to more steampunk. So I guess the kind of dilution of that with the fantasy always appealed to me. But oh well.
Oh well, it'll be a game and we'll play it.
Oh yeah, no, I'll play it. I'll probably like it, but
I still need to play Dishonored, so I'm not going to say I'm going to play this new game. I cannot commit to that.
So you and I are in the same boat. I still haven't played Dishonored, which makes me feel terrible because I love stealth games.
Has nobody here played Dishonored?
I have it, but like I was playing it, and I've become accustomed to checkpoints. There are no checkpoints in that game. Like you screw it up, boom, like you are immediately back to the beginning of the level, unless you've been quick saving, which I mean, admittedly, I should be doing.
We've become so spoiled by checkpoints.
We have.
Yeah.
We should probably get our lesson every now and then to be more diligent in how we save.
Yeah.
Save early, save often, people.